So you went out and you purchased your Super 73 S2, or maybe one of the other Super 73s, I'm not really sure, but you want a way to store things or carry things while you're on it. And maybe a backpack's not the best option, maybe it is, but if it's not and you're looking for another way to do so, they're kind of expensive to be able to set up a storage option. So I really liked the urban baskets that I found out there, but they're pricey after I spent $3 grand on my Super 73. So if you're spending that kind of money on a bike and then it sucks kind of having to spend a lot of money on accessories, budget's the way to go, or DIY. So I went and I made my own. And so this one's made out of coroplast, and we'll get into all the stuff on how I made it and how you could make your own. And if you don't have the time or know how to be able to kind of make one for yourself, even after watching this video, guys, you can order one directly from me and I'll just send them out flat with the folds already there. All you have to do is assemble it, put it on, and I'll make it real easy for you. So I'll give you the price on that at the very end, and the way you're going to order them from me is going to be by messaging me on Instagram. There will be a link below to my Instagram account, so you guys can message me over there if you want to just order one from me. So I'll stick around till the end. I'll give you the price on how much I'm going to charge for them, and I believe it's well worth it, and you're going to save so much money compared to buying the urban basket, the metal urban basket that they're selling out there. First, I'm going to tell you all the things you need to have to be able to make your own. Then I'm going to tell you the measurements and kind of take you through the steps I did to make mine. And obviously I'll cut some off of that because I had a lot of figuring out to do when I made mine. Then last, we'll mount it onto your bike, and at the very end of this video I will tell you guys the price that I'm going to be charging for mine. So stick around for that if that is something you're interested in, but stick around for it even if it's not, because, you know, why not watch the whole video? But you could also skip ahead if you're just like, I just want to buy it. How do I buy this and how much are you charging for it? So let's just head inside and we'll get started on making our basket. So I'm just going to make another one from scratch and we'll make it together. So let's get right into it. So you need to get some corrugated plastic. I chose black because I felt like it looked best and least out of place on a bike. Now, it's hard to find this in a local hardware store, so I did source this on Amazon, and most of the stuff here I'm going to put below in Amazon links so you guys can snag whatever you need. Otherwise, you could check your local hardware store, but good pricing on this on Amazon. You also need to get zip ties to match, so you get the same color zip ties as the plastic, whether you get blue or red or whatever color plastic you get zip ties to match, or do whatever fun stuff you like, because you could want to do funky colors. But I got black zip ties of 3 different sizes because there's different reasons you need the zip ties, and if you want to customize it, the zip ties are good to use. Something to line the top with, like on the one I took off my bike that I've already made, there's a lining on the top to hide the corrugated plastic. And so water doesn't get in there, as well as just gives it a finished look. So something to line that, and what I used was door liner for a car. So mine came in a pack like this. They even sent a little clipper with it so you could cut it. But door liner, so it's like the stuff that keeps your doors from dinging other cars when you open your door. So got that, and I made sure that it listed the same thickness as my corrugated plastic. So that's smart to do as well. And the extra bolts that came with your bike, and you need some washers to fit those bolts. Now, luckily, from some piece of furniture I bought or something, I had these like plastic washers that were great, but metal washers will do the trick also. But so I had like these like plasticky washers, and they're kind of nice, and all you're doing here is just giving you some extra width to how you're mounting it, just to give it some more stability hanging onto your bike. And you'll need an Allen wrench to use those. I don't remember if it came with an Allen wrench. I have Allen wrenches, and then instead of using the regular Allen wrench, which is in my bag here, I actually have a screwdriver tip Allen wrench, which makes it that much easier. So if you have one of these, way easier, just because you can screw it in from the distance instead of having to like refeed your Allen wrench as you're doing it. Like, you know how much of a pain Allen wrenches can be. They come in like furniture and stuff like that. It's just not the most efficient way of putting it together. So you need an Allen, the Allen that fits. So if you don't have the bolts that came in your bag, they are M5. So they're M5 bolts. If you need to go to the hardware store and grab some, M5. I'll put some in the description as well from Amazon. And let's get into the tools that you need. So oddly enough, a pizza cutter. So a pizza cutter, not for cutting. This is going to be for helping us bend the plastic. You need a flathead screwdriver. This is for puncturing your plastic to make the holes for anywhere you want to use or need to use your zip ties. An X-Acto knife or something to cut with. You need a flat edge, a straight edge. So I have a level that is more than long enough for what I needed it for. Either a protractor or a speed square to get some angles. So you're going to use your speed square for angles or protractor. Whatever you want to use, but something to get an angle on in this thing. You need a tape measure. So tape measure, ideal, and a nail. This nail comes in handy when mounting. So it's actually just to puncture the holes for where your bolts are going to go through. So something sharp, pointy like a nail. If you order this stuff and it did not come with the clipper, I would recommend using a nail clipper, not for that, but a nail clipper for if you need to take off any of your zip ties that you accidentally do incorrectly and you just need to snip them off. Nail clipper is a good thing to have around. A cutting surface. So I've got a big plastic table here that I'm using, and then I also just have a cutting board to stick under it just so I don't completely destroy the plastic table. But a cutting board or a couple cutting boards you can put next to each other, or just cut it on some wood you don't care about. Whatever, something to cut your stuff on where you don't care if it gets hurt. Let's get right into it. Let's just talk about how I decided how to start off. So starting off, the first thing I needed was the measurement of the bottom of the bike. So I measured out the bottom of the bike, got about a foot. So on the S2, it's a foot or 31 centimeters. So you got a foot or 31 centimeters for the distance across on the bottom. That's your main measurement you need. Then you need to know how high up you want your sides. So I decided that I wanted one side taller than the other. So as you can see, it angles up, and I like this design, and it makes it so it's easy to stick stuff in from one side, and you can like have kind of a backing to like trust that it's going in and kind of bouncing off of it. One last thing I forgot, you need something to mark your plastic with. Since I use black, I use a white chalk marker because it can wipe it away real easily, and that's important to me to be able to do that. So the corrugated plastic I chose was 2 foot by 4 foot or 24 inches by 48 inches. And I'm going to use the full width of it, which is the 24 inches for the length of my cargo carrier. So when I first made this, I did the height I wanted for my shorter side in. I think at the time I wanted to do 9.5 inches. So we go 9.5 inches in for our first line, 4 inches for the next line, then another 10 inches, 10.5 inches for the next line. 9.5. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Then we're going to go 10.5 inches because that's what I want my higher side. We're going to go. So we're basically making the whole thing 2 foot by 2 foot square to start with our template. And we need our straight edge lines. And the thing about the top edges is they don't have to be perfect because you're putting that liner on it. And it's going to correct any imperfections you have. So this piece I don't really need unless I want to use it for something else later. Our center piece is going to be 6 inches in on both sides, so we need that marked. Here, we're at the 6 inch mark here, and we're just doing it up here. So we go to the 6 inch mark, the 18 inch mark. Draw a line here. So we've got, this is our center bottom piece. And we want it to be able to angle out on all directions. So that's where it came in real hard, was to figure out those angles. So I knew I needed some of this area still there. So I figured my best bet was to just cut a line down the middle to start working with my angles and trying to figure out my angles. So I would say start by cutting your line down the middle. And 2 inches. And then we use our speed square for this part. So speed squares come in handy because they butt up against the edge and give you a 90 degree. So use our speed square here. Cut that. Draw that. Just want to make sure you guys can see it. I'm checking my monitor ever so often. Speed square line. So we will cut those little pieces there. and then we're going to cut this piece here. So these pieces will remain, but we're going to keep our bottom intact, keep these here, so we're not actually cutting these lines. We can just actually erase these lines. We can erase this line here, erase this line here, because we're not cutting it, not cutting this. So I'm going to pizza cutter these lines. And you're going to go over this a few times, giving it a little bit more pressure each time. Then you can make your bend, and you could use your straight edge if it helps to make sure it bends right. So as soon as you break this bend, it kind of moves, but like you got to lift this side up because those are going to hit on something if you don't. So you can make your bend. There we go. Bends pretty easily. I like to use the straight edge though to make sure my bend is straight. So that's going to be our inside bottom. So we've got our inside bottom. We know we want our main sides to go straight up from each side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the 6 inches in on each side and come up to the top and do it, and come to the bottom and do it. Then we're going to draw lines, do our pizza cutter there. So let's go through that and get those folds in. So actually, boss. So these lines up. All right, guys. Sorry, my camera died, but anyway, so what we're at here is pizza rolling all the way out so that we're matching our width of our bottom, and we roll out to the sides. So I've drawn the lines. I've pizza rolled this, and I actually started doing it while my camera was dying. So we've got some fold marks that are going to go all the way out, following the 12-inch mark in the middle, 6 inches from each side, making a 12-inch width middle. And then we're going to go ahead and give those a fold. So folding, folding. All right. And we are going to get rid of some of this middle stuff here, but I don't want to do it in this step yet. All right, so we've got these folded up, and then our next thing is that we are going to need this angle. So this angle is actually 60 degrees off of this bottom line here, so 60 degrees at this angle, coming so from here, 60 degrees this way. So if I'm using this edge, I have to bring it over here so that I'm butted up with the 12-inch, the 6 inches in, I'm butted up with that. Then I find my 60-degree mark on it, and I put a mark. And I'm going to do that with all the sides, because after I put that mark there, we're going to draw a straight line from this corner in here out to the edge, 60 degrees on all sides. And then we're going to take our straight edge, go from the corner out. I lost audio, so I'm doing a voiceover on this part for just a second here. So you're going to run your pizza cutter on all the 4 lines that we just made at that 60-degree angle. And then we're going to come in and we're going to go 4 inches out from that point where they all meet at the bottom. That's going to give us our last outside edge of the box here. And then once you have those drawn, we need to make another set of lines that are going to go from where it all meets in the center there to that center of the 4 inches, right on the outside.
You want a little notch out on one of these two sides on both of these. So on this one, I'm doing this side. On that one, I'm going to do this side. So they're opposite. On my other one, I did not do them opposite, but I wished I had. So I'm going to erase this line here so that I know I'm not cutting it off. I'm going to do another one over here. First, I want to extend this line all the way out to that other line. I know this is getting a little complicated, but these are things I'm realizing as I go. So I want to extend this line past my baseline all the way to that angled line I just cut. And we're going to go ahead and cut all the way to there. And this looks like a jumble mess. So this is why I'm saying that if you guys want to just buy one from me, I can just make them for you, and it's not going to be expensive. So it will be worth it. I will make it worth your while to just have me do it instead of you making it. All right, so we got that. So instead of erasing this line here, because I made a mistake, so don't erase this line. Just put like an X through it so you know not to cut this line. You're going to cut this line here. So we're going to cut out here. We're going to cut up this all the way to the end. Cut this all the way to the end. I'm going to notch this guy out here. On this one, I'm cutting all the way. All right, guys. We're about ready to put it together. So everything's folds are working. Instead of this being at 9.5 exactly, I'm going to bring the middle down to 9, and then I'm going to bring the edges up to 9.25. I could go all the way to the 9.5 and just leave it at that. We might do that. All right, we'll leave it at the 9.5. Like I said, this is the second one I've made, and I'm changing a little bit about it. So I want to go 9.25 or 9 up even. We'll go 9 even. So we're going to leave this how it is. Then we're going to bring this down to the 9.5 inch mark. So all of my cuts have been made. Now it's all about attaching this. So let's fold this up together and then toss some holes in it and start putting zip ties in. So I'll do this side first. So if I get it up here, and I'm just gonna get my holes going through here. So we want the side that is going to go into your bottom first. And flathead screwdriver is perfect for this. I'm trying to make it so you can see it. So I'm going this way, coming up this way, and flathead screwdriver. I'm just going to pick my spot. Then I'll grab my zip tie that works for this. I want my big piece on the inside. So go ahead and zip tie through it. Just get your zip tie in, attach it, push it through. Get as tight as you can. You are going to get some extra strength from where you attach it here. So you're going to attach these two together through here, and you'll get some extra support there. All that first one's doing is attaching it to the bottom of the bike. So there's a little edge here I'm going to wind up cutting off, just because I like to make it look real nice and uniform. All right, so that's on there. That's tight, as tight as I can make it. Clip it down close. Scrap. Do this other side. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure the outside's flush when I'm doing this. We're going to go ahead and do a couple sets here. So one down here, one up here, and get some zip ties in there. So we're going to go zip ties down here, up here, zip ties down here, poke them through just for some security. See how wide this looks right now? So the trick is once we screw it onto the bike, it's going to help flatten it out because it's going to pull one of the sides. And this helps flatten your box out some and pull it in so that your legs aren't hitting it. Now we need to put our top edge on it, and this part's a little bit of a pain in the butt, and it takes some finagling. So I'm going to give away this one that I made for this video because I really want to get these out there, guys, and I want somebody to have the opportunity to just have one without having to buy it. So stick around and I'll tell you how to win it here in just a minute. So we're going to take the stuff, and I'm just going to start. And so they are going to go on separately from one another. So it is a little bit hard to get on. So we're going to have to finagle this on. Once it's on, it's great, but it's a little bit difficult. And you're just trying to feed it on little by little. So edges, flatten it out. All right, guys, we'll meet back here in a second when this is done. Finally finished it up. It took me about 30 minutes to finish putting that on, and we are outside. I'm ready to put it on the bike. So the first thing we have to do is get it lined up how we want it lined up, as straight as possible and set so that our front one's going to line up nice. Now, it is easier if we take off this plate up front, then we can go through one of these holes to the backside, but you can just kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to try to do it the right way here and go straight through. We're going to take off this front piece, go through one of these holes and mount it that way, and then we'll get the back lined up. All right, I've removed the front plate. It wasn't too big of a deal, but I did that, and now let's get this lined up as straight as possible. Ow. And when doing this, we want to think about symmetry. So I am only going to probably utilize one of the front two bolts, one of these bottom centers, and then the two back ones. That's what I did before, and that's what I'll do again on this one. Now, you could utilize as many as you want, although two of these front ones are used for the kick plate here, for this front kick plate thing. So you poke through holes from the back sides, and then you feed your screws through from the front. So make the hole as big as you can so that it fits, and go from there. And you find as many points that you want to mark it from as possible. When I send these out, I'm only going to do it for 4 of the points, and then you can go from there and do what you want with the rest.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
I love you.
I love you. What are your mom doing out there?
Oh, trampolining.
While you're screwing it in with the washers, it makes it flat, it squishes. So that's okay. You want it to, because if it does that, then you know that it's actually getting in there, and it's gonna be in there solid. All right, we're going in with this last one, then we'll be done. Okay, so it's fully on and it is mounted into place. Like I said, it's stable. It's not going anywhere. You can almost pick up the bike with it, and it's going to hold what you need it to hold. I would say at least up to 10 pounds, depending on how you're situating stuff in there. I did like a full grocery one and fit everything I would fit in a normal like paper grocery bag into it. If you guys want to win this basket, the first thing you want to do is subscribe to this channel, comment below. I don't have the time to make one myself. I'd love to win this, something along those lines, and anything along those lines will work. And then head over to my Instagram and follow me on Instagram. And the reason you're going to follow me on Instagram is because it's going to be easiest for me to contact you through Instagram to be able to tell you won, as well as like I post stuff on there all the time. So again, comment below something about I don't have the time and I'd love to win this. Follow on Instagram, subscribe to this channel. I'll put the instructions below in the description, as well as I will put everything that I use to make this. If you do want to buy one from me that I'll just ship to you, and all you got to do is like fold it, put it together and install it without making all the cuts and doing all that stuff you saw in the video, message me on Instagram and we can set that up. It's going to be 50 bucks plus shipping and handling. So I'll wind up finding out where you live and we'll figure out shipping from there. And yeah, try to make it personal with that, so we'll be able to figure that stuff out. And guys, I enjoyed making this for you. I enjoyed making it for my bike, and I'm probably going to just keep making improvements on them and seeing what else I can do with this stuff for the bikes and show you guys stuff like that. So whether you're trying to win one or not, subscribe to the channel. Hit like if you enjoyed this and if you got something out of it. And until next week, I'm going to go shoot something else. Check out my full playlist on the Osmo Pocket 2. That's my favorite camera for using for doing my rides and stuff like that, and for just showcasing everything and making YouTube videos and all that fun stuff. So check out that. See you guys next week with another video. Peace out. I hope to hear from you.